The Monday, August 11th meeting of the Pine Bluffs Town Council. Will everyone rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item is the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have the award presentation. Chief Smith, Director Curry.
Good evening, Mayor, Town Council. This is a official commendation for a life-saving award to Officer Matthew Miller. The Pine Bluffs Police Department believes in recognition of officers and their actions, outstanding efforts, service to their community, and their fellow officers. In keeping with this belief, the Town of Pine Bluffs EMS and the Town of Pine Bluffs Police Department wishes to recognize Officer Matthew Miller for his outstanding actions that occurred on August 2025. On August 6, 2025, at approximately 01:30 hours in the morning, Officer Matthew Miller was awoken from his residence regarding a major medical assistance incident. Officer Miller was advised of a patient that was not breathing, and he found this patient unresponsive lying in the street. Officer Miller initiated CPR until personnel from Pine Bluffs EMS and Laramie County Fire District 5 arrived to continue medical aid. As a direct result of your actions, this life was saved. Your professionalism and actions that night are in the highest traditions of your training, the Pine Bluffs Police Department, and the selfless dedication to the people you serve. So, with that being said, I'd like to invite Director Curry to present Officer Miller with this award. Come on up here, Matt.
Just a couple of quick words on the EMS department's behalf. You might not realize what a big deal this actually was, because the out-of-hospital cardiac arrest rates are well below 10%, well below. And it's tough being a first responder, especially a first responder in a small town, and for him to do what he did. He truly kept the patient sustainable until Derek and I could get there and continue care. And that is the number one factor, not fancy paramedic stuff, fancy fire department stuff, is that immediate CPR from when someone goes into cardiac arrest. And he did that like a rock star.
Congratulations, Matthew. That's awesome. You didn't want to give a speech.
I'm not a huge speech person.
Well, job well done. That's amazing, and congratulations. Else on to the consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. On to new business. Resolution 2025-12, a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign the warranty deed and any other final closing documents for the sale of the property located at Lot 46 and 47, known as 101 and 103 Foxtail Avenue, Prairie View Subdivision in Pine Bluffs, Laramie County, Wyoming, to Helena Agra Enterprises, LLC.
I move to adopt resolution 2025-12.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt resolution 2025-12. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Resolution adopted. Item number 2 under new business is the ordinance discussion, Chapter 20 zoning. I believe, I'm having a little trouble. I guess everyone's kind of had an opportunity to read it. I think one of the main things we need to probably focus on at this point is our animal ordinance portion of that, or as it pertains to those lots, and I guess the large animal portion and where we would like to see that go. I know you've had some previous discussion about it, but I think we kind of need to get to some conclusion about it.
So I had brought up the idea at the last meeting that we might consider allowing a limited number of large animals, especially on those larger lots. Say maybe allow one large animal, say a horse, a cow, a llama, a goat, for every 1.5 or 2 acres, with a limit of 2 large animals in total. That was what I had brought up at the last meeting.
So I've given it more thought, and I know initially we had planned to not allow for any of that. However, I do think there's some need for that. You know, obviously everybody's gonna have input on this. I would like to see it to certain specific lots. It would be my preference if I was going to think about doing that, and obviously everybody can weigh in on that. Perhaps lots 2 through 8 maybe would be a possibility. They tend to, there's a lot of excess area in lot 2 and 3 that kind of might be less favorable for housing and therefore more favorable for some small pasture situation. I don't know. I'm throwing that out there as an option.
That was my basic idea too, was to, if we put those properties on the outer limit, then if you have an animal in your backyard, it's not in someone else's backyard also. And I think that that's helpful. One of the complaints that I've heard about the people that have animals in town now is during heavy rains, the debris from the animals washes into their property and invades. But if you knew ahead of time that these properties, and I agree 2 through 8 seem to be appropriate ones, that people are possibly gonna have animals there and there's gonna be livestock, then you can make the choice, do I wanna buy in that area? So I really like
Yeah,
that idea.
I've kind of come around to that. If it's a known area, you know what the rules are specific to a certain segment of lots, then maybe, you know, and it's something we could always revisit, but I think when we go to market, we should probably at least outline the initial ones where we have acceptable. I do wonder, I think there's a couple things to resolve: the number and types of animals. And the other issue I wonder is, I mean, to make use of 2 acres, you kind of would need to make use of 2 acres. However, there's part of me that thinks that making it be, you know, from the front edge of your house or your house back might be something we want to look at, like that you can't have them in your front yard.
Right.
Yeah.
As a potential middle ground for that.
One other thing I noticed in looking at several other municipality ordinances was they didn't allow for having, like, if you had like a corral or a pen, it couldn't be within 50 feet of your property boundary, so that you couldn't put this right up against the neighbor's property. And that might help alleviate some of the concerns that you had voiced,
I would agree.
Dennis.
It seems reasonable.
Like side yard?
Or back. In this case, we don't really have anything we're backing up to, so maybe it wouldn't be as critical, but yeah, side yard, maybe the neighbor wouldn't
Yeah.
want your animals right up against their privacy fence.
Yeah.
You are, yeah. I mean, here's one of the things I've heard, is not just horses, but small 4-H projects. And so, not to move past what we just discussed, but, you know, I think there's a difference between having 2 or 3 sheep in your backyard and 2 or 3 horses.
Sure.
And so I think we should be careful that if we're gonna be inclusive and allow people to buy property that can have their 4-H project in their backyard that's mostly that's maybe not free range roaming, but part of a small barn area, that we'd be careful about not just, a horse is not the same as a lamb or. I don't know how to address that. It just made me think that if you can't meet the standard of having 2 animals and you have a family of 2 or 3 kids and they each have an animal, now you're also limiting that, so.
All of the people that had approached me, that was their concern, is they wanted to have their 4-H animals, and that's understandable. Maybe we could do it based on a poundage. You can have so many pounds of animals, and
One of the
What if
ordinances
they get too fat?
had
then they gotta
classified,
go.
one of the ordinances showed like 3 classifications, a small, medium, and a large. And they listed, like, if you have a horse, you need so many acres. If you have a sheep, you need so many acres. If you have 5 chickens, you need
Yeah.
whatever.
I think that I can't think of the guy's name. Tyler with the conservation district has helped guide us before on some of this livestock stuff, and so I'm happy to reach back out to him and see if there's anything they can give us on size that could be helpful. But I mean, that's a
Right.
resource that's kind of at our disposal. We should use if we can.
Mayor, I might as well throw my animal 2 cents worth in here. Something to think about would be, sub-districting arrangements. So, you know, if you're in this group of lots, you know, it's pretty much anything goes, but you know that going in. So and then there's a road, so if you're on that outside, you got a street on one side, you got, you know, no man's land on the other, and if people are signing up for that, they shouldn't have too much to gripe about if the neighbors got animals, because that's where they wanted to be. And if you do that, I mean, I can see a morass of regulatory statements that make it hard for them to understand and hard for us to enforce. So maybe it's just as simple as saying, okay, on these 6 lots or 8 lots or whatever, animals are good. Or, you know, do it as an A district, an ag district or something like that. Rather than trying to have them scattered around in the middle, you know.
Yeah, no, I think they need to stay in one area
Yeah.
for sure. I am a little concerned with not capping those numbers to some extent. I mean,
Cap the chickens.
Yeah.
but yeah, I think it would be easier, but we should maybe be thoughtful and not. I
Agreed.
mean, I think we all think of two things when we think of this. First of all, we think of, my example always is, we think of the horse farm in Kentucky. How beautiful that would be. And then we remember it doesn't rain here typically. Maybe it did a couple weeks ago, but typically we don't grow grass like that, so it's tough to maintain horses on that small a property. But
Sorry.
I was just gonna say, and then there's the other end of the spectrum where we have some places around that have been beat down pretty bad, and frankly, we have those are ag areas where we don't really control the population and try to save the homeowner from themselves a little bit. I don't know whether that's our responsibility to do that.
Well, these are pretty small.
Yeah.
For doing this at all.
There.
Well, what about a different approach for 4-H versus like just someone wanting a horse back there? Like 4-H is not as long-term and can be much shorter than your pet horse in your backyard.
It can be
Could
until you open this weird slippery slope where they're like, hey, we're having really a lot of fun with these 4-H animals, so now we should breed them. Like, and then it becomes an all-year project. Like, I totally get what you're saying. It's usually like 5 months, 6 months.
Yeah, and it was more off of the concern about lots of
Yeah.
kids wanting to do their own 4-H project. I think that's a different situation than someone wanting, 4 cows back there for forever.
Yeah.
I mean, and the kids will eventually grow up and then there might not be any animals there.
Yeah.
I can certainly see this going any number of ways. I would agree with Alex. I think this is what he's getting at is, you zone it for that. And then you bog yourself down in all of these regulations that are hard to monitor, hard to comply with. And I like that approach. And then I just, and perhaps if you live in that zone, you're willing to take the chance that your neighbor doesn't have 26 goats on half an acre.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I think that's
Could we
the
limit
trade-off.
so many animals per square foot of land?
I think like Dave said, perhaps the square foot of land, perhaps maybe maybe 2 simple categories, maybe 3 simple categories.
Yeah.
I think we can hammer it out, but we are getting close to the end of this, so I feel like I don't think we can take 2 more meetings to hammer this out. If there's a set of guidelines you would like to see, I would suggest you provide those guidelines to Kim. We can maybe internally commingle those ideas into one set of rules, and then we could see whether we could put it out for approval, and if we have some minor changes to make at that point, we can make those. But I just don't think we can meet 2 more times about this issue.
I'm not that interested myself in seeing even one of those lots have 26 goats. I had some very specific ideas on this, but hadn't gone so far as to have a proposal ready to go. But certainly willing to take the things that I'd seen in several ordinances and try and
That would be
put
great.
those together and into something that resembles a proposal.
Yeah, that would be great if you, and then we could just include that, and then we can review that as part of
And
the
pick it apart,
ordinance.
maybe use that as a starting point.
Yeah, and if you wouldn't mind, just throw my name on the email and that way, because we're kind of peddling through this whole thing right now currently.
And this would be still just for lots 2 through 8. We're all comfortable with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think just having the option available for somebody who's interested in that is nice, but I like the idea that maybe if you weren't interested in animals, you knew if you bought, say, 19 through 24, you didn't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
think that's a good compromise.
Do you think that might lower the property, like the value or interest of 14 through, what is that, 9?
That's where I would like to see, I guess I'd like to revisit that just quickly. Would everyone like to see some type of regulation that it can't be in your front yard?
Yes.
Well, yes,
Okay, so I think we
I
just
think
need
it
For
to,
that reason.
distance from your property line and not in the front yard.
okay.
Except neighbor to neighbor, cause that's what we're trying to,
Neighbor to neighbor, I'm a bit concerned about your question. I mean, I think there's a ton of neighbors out there that would go like, hey, Jim, why don't we build a common 3-wire barbed wire fence between us and we get to, I don't know how many
Okay.
fences you would get
Well-
out there.
see, if you take 19 through 24, the boundaries are all, separated by some barrier. Chicory Loop, Buffalo Drive, you know, the perimeter, whatever, that's what I'm talking about, is try to pick a group of them,
Yeah, I think we've decided 2 through 8.
or 2 through 8, yeah.
I think
Same deal,
that's,
you got your automatic
we're
boundaries
over
there.
there. What I'm trying to decide is Dennis suggested potentially keeping them separated from their neighbors, but my question is if you live in an area that's zoned for animals, do we really try to control the side fence? Cause now you're gonna have multiple fences.
Yeah, I don't think you can do
I
that.
understand what you're saying.
By the time you carve out 50 feet on both sides, I mean, you're cutting into the acreage
Yeah.
pretty severely.
And you're bordered by a road on each side,
Right.
so
I think just the front yard.
I think if Dave, if you
Yeah.
could maybe spearhead that and throw something
Absolutely.
down.
I was looking at Jefferson County, Colorado's regulations, and they have, to guard against having animals in the front yard, they have a 100-foot setback from the front property line. And I guess you could make that whatever you wanted, but that would be a way to ensure you didn't have animals grazing in the front yard.
Yeah.
Sure.
On the lawn.
What's up? I won't come up on mine.
Uh,
I'd have to dig through yes, we will make it somehow coincide with our setback ordinance for that area.
Sounds good to me.
The other part of that is, would we want to consider, since the lots are considerably larger than the ones on the southern part of the town, would we want to consider allowing more small animals? I think we have a limit of what, like 5 chickens, for instance, 5 hens, no roosters. Would we want to consider doubling that number for people in that same, say those same 2 through 8 lots?
I guess it doesn't hurt to throw it out there. I mean,
Okay.
you're already in a kind of an aggy kind of area.
I
If
guess.
there's no appetite for that, then we can,
It
But what's
certainly
the
doesn't
difference
offend me.
in 10 chickens and 3 goats? Like, I mean, I think you're probably right, where we should consider those.
Yeah. It's part of the small animal.
Yeah.
I still think we need to be careful about the number of dogs.
do
That would be my,
And
do
we
we
should
have that?
probably,
Is that in the ordinance now?
It's in our animal ordinance.
It is, okay. It's 4.
I think we should also clarify what types of animals we're allowing. Not that, or I think we'll end up with a camel or something like that,
Correct.
plaques.
Yeah.
A lot of these
You
are specific, and in some cases they include pigs, some do not. I know that the opinion was expressed that we not allow pigs, and I don't have a strong opinion one way or the other that way, so that's fine. But you could see some with llamas or alpacas or what have you, but we probably need to spell that out.
I'm guessing you get some of the 4-H people we were talking about though, that would love to have their pig in their backyard.
That's what I
Yes.
was thinking is some of the 4-H people that have been.
I don't think anybody wants to do production level pig. Is this what they might? I mean, I don't know. I don't want to decide what someone might do. Kim, are you on the line?
Kim, can you hear us?
It's fine.
Sorry, you were on mute. Yes, I can hear you.
What was, other than the animal ordinance, were there any specific things you'd like to see us work through here?
I just, a couple of my notes, just at the very beginning, are you good with us, in that Prairie View district order, allowing duplexes? I know we don't want to put like multiple homes out in those lots, but, I wasn't sure on the duplex deal.
See why you couldn't.
It's one of the first section in the very one at the very beginning. And I would increase that 7,500 to something bigger, 10,000 maybe, or.
Would share common construction was so long as each side of the home. Oh, so they would need
And I
to.
think the word separate lot is probably also misleading, but, would we subdivide that lot, or how would we make that happen?
Yeah, I don't think if it's common ownership, we need a lot division.
Okay,
So, I would say our minimum would be roughly, what's the smallest? We could do a little less than half of 0.69 acres.
okay,
If all you want is duplexes, so I would say you could potentially do half of one of the smaller lots. The smallest of the small lot, probably minus a little just to account for, but
yeah,
I do really think that they have to, this is now getting into allowing the subdivision of lots, and this is where for me, we weren't gonna allow the lots to be subdivided, but duplexes bring a different set of issues, I guess, I hadn't thought of.
sure. And, we can, even consider that for just maybe the smaller lots, and then moving forward in that section, if we ever develop more, but, I don't know if you want to allow it on the larger lots as well.
Yeah, personally, I would allow it on the small lots, but not the big lots.
Okay, yeah.
That's what I think, but also. Does that sound all right with everyone?
It does with me.
We just don't want to hamstring people with getting the square footage number too specific.
Sure,
Like, we need to make sure they can offset it just a little bit even, if, just for error, I guess, more than anything.
okay. And then I did put in a statement saying that subdivision of lots in this district is prohibited.
Yeah, I think that sounds consistent with what we've talked about.
Okay. And I also put in a subsection there that about orientation, that the front elevation of the house should be oriented toward the road that serves as its primary access point or the official address of the lot. I don't know if that's important to y'all, but
That's a really interesting one. I could imagine people, I think it's how nitpicky are we gonna get? I could see people putting, on a 2-acre lot, putting a house that sits at a pretty good angle to capture maybe more west views in the evening or in the morning or something to that effect. And so, well, I would agree that facing sideways, perpendicular seems odd, but I don't know how we regulate that.
sure. And I don't need to put that in there, but that was just an example I got from another ordinance, from the covenants. And it's, something that I see in my own neighborhood where you've got somebody that's on a corner lot and their front door faces the corner. It doesn't, so you don't really know which street they're on. But out there, it's obviously much different because you have larger lots.
Well, I think they're such big lots that I can't really see anybody putting a house facing completely perpendicular to the street or road. But someone could. I mean, I guess I don't.
Someone will because you're saying.
Could you do that based on at the permitting level? When they present a building permit and the house is oriented wacky on the lot, you say, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be hard to
What would you deny it on?
dig in. It offends
Grounds
your
would you
senses.
deny it on?
Well, I mean, now you don't have a
If you don't have an ordinance
document
that
that
says,
says.
like, just because you don't like it?
It's a tough,
That's a good
it's
question.
tough to not have a guideline. And especially when the whole, I think to back Dave's point up, is the whole point of this ordinance was to give people guidelines as they go to buy and build and like plan. So if we're not giving that guideline, it might be kind of confusing.
But can't you imagine someone who buys lot
Yeah,
6 and they say, you know, I'd really like it just
100%.
to orient north and south and the front yards in the east and the backyards in the west, and so it's almost nearly sideways on the lot, and that's just what they want for their views, and they might put an angled garage in, they might do a number of things, and I don't know, I don't think it's,
Like, I don't know.
Alex?
I guess I just need a little, to get a better sense of the mood here. Is the goal more to create kind of the ideal or close to the ideal community? Or is it more to get the lots sold? My experience has been, we've done a ton of covenants. And for every covenant that draws a purchaser, it'll alienate 10. So one thing to keep in mind is the more confining the regulations are, the more you eliminate buyers.
So, I don't, maybe now I'm just thinking out loud. On anything that faces Chicory Loop, and I don't know how you word that, orientation is, like, because you're right, they might want to do something crazy or a little bit obscure, and there's 2 acres, and is it really that offensive to the neighbor if it's just a little bit off kilter? But then on the 31 through 38, those ones that face Primrose, those should be facing the street that their address is on.
I'm still waiting for an answer to my question.
Well, I think it starts out, I mean, that's a tricky question, Alex. I mean, I think it starts out with some, in my mind, or for me, it starts out with some kind of idealistic thing, and, you know, now we're to the point where we've spent a lot of money on this project, and the citizens of our community in Laramie County and the state of Wyoming, and frankly some federal money, they all deserve us to recoup some of that money. And so to the extent that we need to be as, I guess what I'm saying is I lean more to the latter now, which is not to let a free-for-all go on, but to work hard to get as many people into lots as possible. That's where I'm at. That doesn't have to be where everyone else is at. I'm just saying.
I agree with that, but you don't wanna create a train wreck out there either, though.
Like as not, what you're gonna have is maybe a developer come in and take 4 lots or 6 lots or something. But what they're gonna look at as a developer is resale. They are definitely interested in selling. So that's why I say, you know, you might have somebody comes and say, you know, I want someplace where doggone it, you know, there aren't any animals bothering me, and I like it when the sidewalks are straight, and, you know, everything is like that, and so I like this community. But if you sell a number of lots to a developer, they just don't view it that way. I mean, they wanna build homes that will sell,
Sure.
and that means they need elbow room.
Any thoughts from you guys?
Pros and cons to both, I get.
Well, I would lean more toward, I really have come around since this project started, and I don't know what that looks like, but I know when I see it, I agree with Dennis. And I don't know how much language to include to eliminate anything crazy, but I feel like this house orientation thing is not, it's not a hill I want to die on for resale purposes. And perhaps the primrose ones, you could convince me if we were nitpicking at rules on every one of them, I would agree with you on that to me feels different, more straightforward orientation, but they're fairly deep lots. I don't know what that looks like.
Or either, I was just
Yep.
trying to answer the question, I guess.
I don't know either.
Sorry.
Any other thoughts about this?
Yeah, I guess if I was a buyer, I would want more freedom to do my house as I wanted. And I guess at the end of the day, that's, in my mind, something to remember. If you were the one buying it,
Kim, my advice would be to write it in with no orientation.
Okay.
Just leave it.
So what if they decide they want a barndominium, they face it north, and the backyard is now along the
The front
street, and they want their horses in the backyard.
You take care of that with the setback from the front property line.
to the front.
Can't be within 150 feet of the front property line. Doesn't matter which way the house is oriented.
You don't call it the backyard, you call it the front of the property line.
Okay.
I don't know. These are all good questions, but frankly, we have to come to some conclusion on these we're getting down to it.
Let me clarify the setback, because that's pretty fundamental. Are you talking about nothing?
No, I'm saying one of the ordinances I looked at didn't allow for animals
Okay,
to be housed within 100 feet of the front property line.
okay, but it's okay for the building to be up there.
That was a separate issue.
Gotcha.
It was just animals.
Kim, do you recall,
Okay.
like I can't get it up on my computer, but what is our current setback?
20, I think it's 20 feet.
I think it's 20.
20.
Yeah. Yes, it's 20 feet from the edge of the property line.
So if you put 100 feet from the edge for animals purpose only.
Well, we're probably
Yeah.
gonna have to go less than that if we're allowing 20 feet from the,
We either need to change
Right.
the 20-foot setback, or,
Well, we're already doing something different for those lots, so changing the
that's true.
setback.
There's a built-in setback because of the streets, I think is what Jan is going for. The reason I ask is, if you have the more setback you have, the more concrete a person's gotta pour to get to their garage.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, that is a biggie.
It is a
Yeah,
biggie,
for
'cause
sure.
driveways are expensive.
Yes, they are.
yeah, it's fine. I would just, I would say these things, maybe we do 50 or, I don't know, your average house, let's say
What's the
it's,
average house like?
say it's 25 feet deep. 30
25 or
feet,
30, yeah.
30, so now you're at 50, I don't know, you got a backyard and then you can house your animals, let's say it's 75 feet. I don't know,
Yeah.
we have to come up with a number, but
We could have two different numbers.
we could have it at 50 feet and they could fence their side and go all the way back.
Yeah.
I don't care.
But yeah, you could have a setback for the house and then a separate one for where the animals can store.
Right, that's what I was
Okay.
getting at. If it's 20 feet, then maybe it should be 50 feet where the animals can start.
Right. This one shows a front setback for accessory buildings housing horses, cattle, sheep, goats, etc. as 100 feet from the front property line, and all other accessory buildings could be a setback of 50 feet from the front line. But if you have animals, they've got to be set back further, or any buildings that house animals. So something like that, not that we have to adopt that, just
Sure.
something along those lines.
Do we need to go on a field trip and actually look at what that would be on these 6 lots? Like if it would be too small? Maybe that's just me.
I think to Alex's point, I mean, if somebody wants to take advantage of how much they have in their backyard, how much access they have to animal grazing or animals, confinement in their backyard, then 20 feet is, if that's what we're going everywhere else, I literally wouldn't, on a place where I wouldn't plan on concreting from, I completely agree with you on a typical house, how long your driveway would be, but in those, you're probably gonna have gravel a good portion of the way to your actual driveway. But maybe not. I mean, I don't know, I can't account for that. 20 feet sounds like closer than I would go, but I don't
Well, you can always go more,
yeah,
you know.
yep. All right. Any other thoughts, Kim? Questions that we don't really give you an answer to?
Nothing that I need an answer to. I do just want to let you know that, some of the people that I have talked to have expressed that they like the idea of a more formed neighborhood as opposed to with actually more consistent zoning than what we have in some parts of town today, where you might have, like 2 or 3 fairly modern, nice houses, and then like a double wide or something like that. So I think that's kind of also why I was throwing that orientation piece in there, just because I think that some people also have a view of something a little bit more structured. So if we can at least kind of keep that in mind when we're looking at the building permits, that would be great. And I agree that it shouldn't be too restrictive, but I do like the idea of us having, a little bit say in, as you kind of, to quote you from earlier, protecting people from themselves and doing something really wonky.
Sure.
Do we feel like, do we look at the new subdivision as affordable housing, or do we look at it as an upgrade for somebody who maybe lives in town or elsewhere that is ready for their second home? Is it not really?
I think based on how it's structured, it's just bound to be more the latter.
Yeah,
I would agree with that.
yeah, and affordable housing is not a,
Second.
Yeah, usually you don't buy $150,000 2-acre lot as a starter home
Right.
position.
I was looking at some of the smaller lots, thinking, well, that might be attainable for somebody who's looking to
I think those
build or.
I think those are getting close, but they're still
They're
really
close,
big.
but they're,
If we could get someone to develop affordable homes on lot 41, that would be awesome. Like, put more streets in the middle of that, and get them down to reasonable size lots that start to, a developer can then split their costs down a lot more, and the infrastructure is a lot cheaper to put in, and they're that close, much closer together, and I think even if you did those,
That would be good, because it seems like we have a large gap between like a rental property and nicer homes, and there's not hardly any that fit in that range. And I don't know what that price tag
I
is
think
now,
that, I
but
think the problem is, yeah, what,
the $200,000 to $400,000 homes, there aren't that many of them.
yeah. Sure.
Do you know what the dotted line on the street says, the perimeter of the?
I think it's just kind of a line
I think it just looks,
slash
So
and or
there's,
the
it's,
alley.
it doesn't have some significance that it's designating
No.
something? that-
No, I think it was just a decorative.
Okay.
Or is it where utilities run or something?
no, I don't
I
think
don't
so.
think that map
This
is
is
that
not a
complex.
street.
There,
That's a greenway.
good point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Well, it's,
that's
The Air Force.
There's
There's
the
an Air Force
greenway.
cable buried under it that
yeah.
is a problem.
Only some dotted lines.
Those are all the trees that were in plan.
I think these are probably electric.
all right, well, we'll continue to work on it.
At the bottom.
And once again, if you have any input, now is the time to make those suggestions to Kim or myself or Alex, or, you know, try to get this to some conclusion, I think. Anything else on that? All right, next item is visitor comment.
We had a phone call today. People are asking when the road is gonna be open, and I haven't seen anything posted on that. And when
So-
they're gonna close the,
So, I think that's a difficult question exactly, but as we know it now, I believe, could be wrong about this. I thought it was the 12th and 13th or 13th and 14th, but they're gonna overlap. So the initial, do you remember whether it's tomorrow or the next
Tomorrow
day?
they would close Main Street, and then Wednesday they would open up the Butler.
So for a day, initially scheduled for only a day, both were gonna be closed, which would have been tomorrow. However, there's some finished street work to do going up to it that we've been made aware of recently. And so we might be looking at more like 3 days. We're hopeful that it's 3 days. Would you agree with that, Kim?
Yes.
Yeah, so we're hopeful that sometime Friday it would open back up fully. And then obviously the Main Street crossing would never reopen, but there will be a period where citizens will have to utilize the 215 bridge to access that property.
okay,
And I believe that should start sometime tomorrow.
thank you.
Any other visitor comments? Department reports, Jana? Dave?
I have nothing either.
I have nothing today. Ally?
If you haven't seen it, Wham's been sending out your invitation for the regional meeting on September 18th at the Wham office in Cheyenne. If you are interested in attending, you can go ahead and, I think, register for that anytime. They were hoping to get everyone in by like the end of the month. So if you're interested, RSVP. If you haven't seen that link and would like one, let me know and I can pass that along.
Great.
I don't have anything.
Alex? Smith?
Ally, did you have any kind of an update about trail days?
I don't, other than thank you to the staff. I'm no longer on, I'm not sure I told anyone of you, but I'm no longer on the committee or serving as the chairman at this time, but I want to thank the town staff for all of their work because they helped a ton to do both, the Toasted Trail Days, helped me, execute some of the things at the park for the evening, but they were a big part of the entire weekend, just getting things ready from the rec department, police department, and public works was seen all week, so, I guess, thank you all for that.
Yes, thank you.
And I would like to, also, I should have mentioned that, I would like to thank I didn't do a very good job at the Toasted Trail Days, so I'd like to just point out again, the town hall staff, and they made some delicious things and set up a lot of stuff, and, everyone who contributed to that event, as well as everything else, I thought, boy, we had a lot of weather, but, despite that, it was a good weekend, and, by all accounts, went well, so.
Contrary to your perception, you did do a good job at the.
Yeah, I thought so.
I thought the whole weekend was excellent, well done, and was really pleased with basically the family night in the park Saturday evening. I thought that was awesome to see. I don't know how many people were there, but over 100 anyway, that probably well over 100, and just groups, people all over the park doing whatever they want, just mingling, and the food trucks hung out. We had, the blow-up bouncy houses and cornhole and music. That was an excellent idea. Whoever's that was, it was excellent. So, well done.
I was gonna get up and say the same thing. So,
Sorry about
But
that,
no.
we blew it for you.
stole my thunder. But I would like to say it was successful. We only had one issue, small issue, citation was issued, but other than that, as far as the police department is concerned, it was safe, everyone was safe, and that's a win in my book. Great parade. EMA provided us the light and a couple supplies, and that worked out excellent as it has the last 3 years. So just wanted to give a shout out to emergency management, excuse me, for allowing us to use that.
Thank you for doing that, that
So,
was
Yeah,
important.
it was awesome.
Thank you. Other than that, nothing to report. I will say, school's starting, so, us and the school resource officers will be stepping up school's traffic, so abide by the 20-mile-an-hour speed zones will be in full effect, this upcoming Wednesday, so.
Great.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I don't have anything new to report, still working on finishing up liquor licenses. At our next meeting, we'll have a public hearing immediately before, so
Great.
those will be good to go.
Kim, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, I have just a couple of things. In your council packs, I provided the list of what we believe to be the final lot prices that we would like to go ahead and get listed on the MLS. And I guess I just need to know, Alex, if we need to do some sort of a formal document, like a resolution or something, approving these lot prices, or if the council can just go ahead and say, yay, we agree with these and it looks good. Most of them were kind of an average of what we all had talked about at the last meeting based on the input. Average price of everybody's thoughts combined, give or take $1,000.
Yeah, I did have a chance to look at those today. There's actually a pretty good spread, top to bottom on those.
Yes.
And I, after what we talked about tonight, I'd like to take another look at them.
Okay.
Did we have input at all from, anybody in the real estate community as to?
Yes.
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 Okay.
So the other
Yep.
question I would have to that, not to interrupt, but if we go to the market with whatever the pricing is, it doesn't really, that's not the point of my question. The point of my question is, can we have a resolution or an agreement or something that gives them some, since we're,
I
you
know
know, I
where you're
can't,
headed.
some form of latitude, because we can't have someone making counter offers that we're like, well, we'll let you know in 2 weeks whether we accept it or we counter back to you. Like, I think we need to, within reason, we need to be comfortable about giving the agent, since we're supposed to be arm's length, the authority to have some latitude.
Yeah, I don't think, there's a legal requirement one way or the other on something like this. You know, Alvin had a little development up there and, you know, it was just, they sort of went with the flow. I mean, there was a lot of back and forth on the sales of those. I think you're gonna have to have that ability. And that's the only thing about, formalizing it in a resolution is, you know, then you gotta decide, okay, do we have to go back to the governing body because this person wants to counter it? And, you know, now we have to change what we said. And so, you know, that's something that I think we need to build into, either by way of a percentage that you can vary from without having additional authorization. And we have to decide, you know, who has the authority to do that. It's probably gonna be the mayor. Or, you know, another problem you're gonna run into is, you know, the war form has all kinds of provisions built into it that address situations where people aren't pre-qualified. So, you know, they may qualify at a lower appraisal if the bank appraises it lower. And, you know, typically a seller tries to work with that and pay some points. And I mean, there's all these other kind of ancillary issues that arise out of that war form. So what we may want to do is go through the Wyoming Association of Realtors form and make decisions about what we're gonna do on those toggle issues and get that done first. It will affect your, to some extent, the saleability of the property, obviously, because if you say, you know, we're not gonna give on this issue or that issue, or we're not gonna pick up closing costs, they're all gonna be split, you know, those kinds of issues. Another one that's, I think, front and center is what are we gonna do about the mineral rights here? Are we gonna reserve them all, or are we gonna let the people
I
have
hadn't
them?
thought of that. Do we have any?
I don't know.
Well, we should find that out probably. Yeah, but your point is well taken. I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, and pore space, another one. I mean, I guarantee you we have that. So those kinds of things I think need to be in the war form so that when people look at it, they know right up front what our bottom line is on those things.
I think it's interesting when you bring that up because it's never occurred to me on a residential lot whether I have the,
Yeah.
like I would have no idea who owns the mineral rights under my house, but.
Doesn't Wellington, Colorado have issues with that? Aren't there some like oil?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like in people's backyards.
Gosh,
Yeah.
I had never thought of that.
We have it east of Cheyenne all the
Yeah.
time. 4 and 5 acre parcels and.
Yeah, the bigger you get, the more common that problem would be, but buying a 13,000 square foot lot in town, you're like, it never even occurred to me.
My brother Gene lived in California when I was a kid, and his next door neighbor, he's in this California lot that was probably only 60 by 60, it had a little house, I mean, nothing, little postage stamp backyard, and his next door neighbor had a pump jack.
Pump jack, right.
You
You drive through Tulsa and you'll see pump jacks, on the corner of a gas station. And that's what people are concerned about. They don't want right of way through there, they don't want
Yeah.
seismic, I mean,
No, that's a good question. We should figure that out.
yeah.
So back to Kim's question. Do we need to do a resolution or can the council vote on these prices tonight? Or do we need to do something saying this is gonna be our set price?
I think based on what you're saying, I think we can just, if we agree on them,
On the prices?
and you're gonna review them one more time.
Yeah, I mean, not tonight, but
Yeah,
at
I'll
the
take-
next meeting.
Yeah, but I think the resolution has to have some latitude built into it.
Yeah,
And, that,
Well, now I'm more worried that if we make a resolution at all, we have, which latitude did we forget to include in the list of latitudes?
another possibility would be to, appoint a committee, yourself and a couple of council people. And, that way when you get an offer, you can,
meet up and.
yeah, you can do it that way.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I would say, Kim, let's discuss it, but if you think about it and you feel like we need formal approval of these starting prices, then we probably need to do that by next meeting, Kim, would you say, or you want it tonight?
Yeah.
No, we can have it for the next meeting.
Okay. Well, I guess just let us know if you think it's in our best interest to
Yeah,
have something.
can I know, was it Amy that came up with the prices?
No, it was a combination of the council members, the mayor, myself. Then we took an average and then we presented it to Amy, and she worked with us to kind of fine tune those. And they all worked out to be very close to, if not the actual average of all of our thoughts.
And would you categorize that as a advertised price or a bottom line price or a hoped for price or what?
Advertised.
Advertised.
Okay, so the presumption there would be that there should be some flexibility built into that.
Yes.
Because your asking prices is always higher than, than what people want to pay, honestly.
Sure. Yeah, that's why I'm saying I feel like we need to have we either need to have like the committee, or we need to have some reasonable way to negotiate without waiting every 2 weeks
Every 2 weeks.
for something.
Exactly. Got it, okay.
Okay.
All right. All right, announcements and meetings.
Our next town council workshop is Monday, August 25th at 4:30, with the regular town council meeting, same evening, August 25th at 6 p.m.
What was that date again, please?
The 25th, sorry.
I think that Wednesday we have or is it next week?
The 18th, the next Wednesday, we
Is
have a
the
county.
quarterly
Yep.
I was in Cheyenne,
at the
Yeah.
Botanic Gardens.
6 o'clock.
I'll send you guys a reminder at the beginning of the week.
Thank you.
Yeah.
First week of school, so I'll be there.
I know.
Any other announcements or meetings?
We have a work session.
August 25th at 4:30.
Okay.
Move to adjourn?
We have an executive session,
do?
so I would take a motion to enter executive session.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded to enter executive session. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, about 5 minutes or so.